Greetings my friends, George here from No Nonsense Metal Reviews, back again with another new release review, here to share my thoughts and opinions on the brand new full-length studio album Legends from the legendary Swedish power metal, heavy metal kings, the mighty Sabaton. So Legends, I believe this is actually album number 11 from this incredible band. Sabaton have risen through the ranks over the years. They really have gone from being, like any band, small scale band starting out, and they have rapidly risen to headlining arenas the world over, headlining festivals. They've got their own festival. I think they've even got their own cruise. And album number 11, Legends, is one that a lot of us have been really looking forward to. A lot of anticipation for this one. It's been 3 years since the previous album, The War to End All Wars, which is a brilliant album. And I think when you've got a run of very good albums, as Sabaton have done, they don't have any bad albums, but in my opinion, certainly from Carolus Rex through Heroes, The Last Stand, The Great War, The War to End All Wars, they have been on a very, very top form, very fine run of albums. They've been releasing some incredible material. So naturally, you're wondering how long that run of brilliant albums is going to go on for. You're waiting for a dip in quality. Not that you want that, of course, but naturally you do wonder, can they maintain this? And I can say with confidence, rest assured, because Legends is just as good as any of those albums just mentioned, any of its predecessors. It is a fantastic piece of work. And I am deeply in love with this album, I will say. It's rapidly become one of my favourite releases of 2025. Of course, we're at that time of year. We start working on our top albums of the year list, and Legends has already shot straight up my list. And that's saying a lot. We've had some great releases this year. Loving this album so much, I've already bought a Templars artwork t-shirt from EMP. If you're looking to pick that up, they've got some great Legends merch on there. Pre-ordered the album in vinyl format. Don't usually go straight in at vinyl, but I think the price of this album on vinyl new was a lot less than I was expecting. I think it was about £20, £22 or something like that if memory serves, but it was pretty reasonable for a new release album. Also, the CD was still pretty expensive. I did actually also pre-order the CD when it went down to about £13, I think it was. So a bit more reasonable, but I had high hopes. The lead singles that they've released a number of lead singles. Templars, I think we had the Hordes of Khan as well. I think we also had the Duelist and Lightning at the Gates. They were all top-notch, very Sabaton songs. There's not a huge deviation from the formula, but they were all really good. So I had a good feeling about this one. First up, we've got to talk about that artwork. What a brilliant cover. What a freaking brilliant album cover that is. That is so epic. And if you haven't gathered from that artwork there and the title, this album, thematically, is all about legends through history. Great rulers and great warriors, fighters, prestigious figures throughout conflict and war, throughout history, basically. So Sabaton has not changed their thematics or their lyrical content much. They're still very much rooted in history, conflict and warfare, but also some of the great names throughout history. So they really have stepped away from, certainly the last two albums was all about the Great War, the First World War. Before that we had, again, warfare. A lot of albums have been relating to the First and Second World War or modern warfare in general. So they've moved away from that. They've gone further back in time. They're covering everything from the Templars, of course, through to some of the samurai, and the Vlad the Impaler, Napoleon, I believe, with I Emperor, and Made of Steel. Of course, we've got Joan of Arc. So we've got some different content here. The band, they've had quite a few lineup changes over the years, I should say. There's our lineup artwork. So you've got the band in their Templars attire, their armament there, which is very, very cool. And little poster there, I'll show that off in a moment. We've got largely the same band that we've had, with the exception of the return of Toby England on lead guitars and backing vocals. Obviously, he stepped away from the band in about 2016, I think. He's now back in the fold after the departure of Thomas, who's gone back to carry on with his own things, Majestica and such. We've got the core of the band, Joachim Broden on vocals, Pars Sundstrom on bass. We've got Hans Van Dahl on drums, absolutely incredible drummer. And we've got Chris Rawland on guitars as well. So the lineup is consistent and the lineup is very good. I have to say, very good lineup. As a vocalist, I really do like Joachim's vocals. I think he's got a great, it's very masculine, it's very macho, but that's kind of the whole image and aesthetic, of course. It's very powerful stuff. He's got a very manly voice. That said, I think he's got a great voice. It's certainly very unique stinger, but he's got power in there, and throughout Legends, Joachim sounds brilliant. Really, really fine form. Drumming from Hans is brilliant, absolutely killing it there. Great drummer. The whole band, of course, the guitars and bass sounds brilliant as well. There's nothing sloppy about the musicianship here. There's nothing amateur. These are all pros. And as a result, you have an album which is just absolutely masterful. Well, we've got 11 tracks here. Brilliant. Not a dud, not a dull moment. The whole album is absolutely just crammed with hooks. And of course, Sabaton, they are a power metal band, heavy metal band. I think they kind of sit comfortably in that middle spot in the Venn diagram between power and heavy metal. Is it outright power metal, or is it actually, heavy metal? I'd say, who really cares? It's just freaking excellent heavy music. Not a dud moment, as I say, but it's not an overly long album either. It's around 45 minutes in total, if memory serves. I'll just show off this poster, actually, before I forget to. Awesome. So I've got an insert with all the lyrics on one side, and the big old poster on the other, which is very cool. I don't know if it's meant to be a poster, but it's got some awesome artwork, and I love it. So the album actually kicks off with a real standout. It is brilliant. I say hooks galore. This whole album is just one big sing-along album. Every track is memorable from the first couple of listens. Easily. It doesn't take you long to really get to grips with these tracks and start humming along. Certainly for myself, it was 1 or 2 listens. So Templars is brilliant. It's got a great intro that really builds into this, full throttle, heavy, driving track, but it's just got brilliant vocal harmonies, melodies. You've got the whole thing there, some killer riffs, some brilliant leads. It's just great. Instantly memorable, so catchy. Then we've got Hordes of Khan, which is a brilliant track. Absolutely uplifting, proper saddle up and ride across the wilderness wielding your sword kind of stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Again, it's very, very fast. It's uplifting stuff. It's brilliant. A Tiger Among Dragons is a particular standout in my opinion. It's got a soaring, blinding chorus, which is just so catchy, so memorable. Great vocal work there, and again, the whole band is on fine form. Followed on by another absolute album highlight, Crossing the Rubicon. Talk about catchy. Talk about infectious and something that you just can't get out of your head. Wow, what a number, but really powerful. It's got the whole synths and the big orchestration there. Of course, Sabaton will be touring this year, 2025, and into next year. They will be touring with the legendary orchestra. And if the orchestra is going to be playing renditions or versions of these tracks, these are perfect for that. Absolutely brilliant, because they are very orchestral and epic in their nature. It's epic stuff. I Emperor is a great one. Maybe not my favourite track from the album, but still great. Still very, heavy stuff, motivational. I've got Made of Steel, which is another great number. Really enjoy that one. Impaler is a particularly heavy track. So kicking off side B there, Impaler, very heavy. We've got some really heavy riffs there. We've got some, again, great vocal work, really catchy, but it's a heavy, riffy track. Lightning at the Gates, driving on. It's absolutely, full throttle stuff. Absolutely love it. It's a great one. The Duelist is brilliant as well. That's more of a power metal track. It's very uplifting. It's very catchy, memorable stuff. The Cycle of Songs is epic. It's quite dark. It has quite a dark kind of brooding nature to it. It's quite an ambient track. A lot of these tracks are very ambient. I think that's just Sabaton's style. But that one in particular has a very dark feel. Great chorus again. Very sing-along worthy, definitely. And then they closed the album out with Till Seger, I believe in Swedish. And that is a rousing, uplifting, heavy metal track. Enjoyable, really good stuff. So it's, you read through that track list, it seems short and sweet, but there isn't a dull moment. There really isn't. There isn't a dud track. Nothing that's below excellent quality heavy freaking metal. I will actually just show. This is just the standard black vinyl. However, I believe through EMP or their own official store, you can get all manner of different versions, different colour schemes and stuff. They will obviously cost a bit more, but actually they did look very cool and not too unreasonably priced, to be honest, for an album this good. I would honestly say this is just as good, if not better, than some of its predecessors, some of those previous albums. I really do enjoy The Great War and The War to End All Wars. I do feel that this is better than those albums. I personally hold Carolus Rex and Heroes in very high regard. Heroes in particular. But, The Last Stand, another good one, but I feel like this one is almost better. I don't want to say that because it's still early days. I'm still on that hype of this is a freaking great album. But it's so up there. Absolutely brilliant. If you need convincing, maybe you've heard of the name Sabaton, you've heard of the power metal tag, and you're kind of put off by that. Honestly, don't be. It's a brilliant album. Sabaton are a brilliant band. Absolutely incredible band. And if you do need convincing, check out Templars. Check out A Tiger Among Dragons, Crossing the Rubicon, and I would say you've got to go with Lightning at the Gates, another great moment there. It's a brilliant album, thoroughly enjoyable, does not disappoint at all, really well produced, the album sounds fantastic, it's just excellent. So I'm very much looking forward to catching Sabaton at the Motorpoint in Nottingham, Motorpoint Arena in December 7th, I believe, or 6th or 7th, can't quite recall off the top of my head. But that'll be the first time that I've seen Sabaton in a few years, actually. Sadly, I have missed the last few tours, owing to just life and other commitments, whatever. Last time I caught them was on the Heroes tour. So I've actually caught them. I saw them at Download on that tour, Download Festival. I've also seen them at the Norwich Waterfront. If you're from the east of England and you know the waterfront, it's a tiny, old warehouse basement. Tiny thing. But that was a great show. So much energy there. Sabaton, they're all absolute pros. Professional. And then caught them, of course, at the Norwich UEA, another sort of legendary venue. And they were a great band. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing them live again. Certainly with the legendary orchestra. So they've teamed up with an orchestra. I believe it's a full orchestra. that will be performing orchestral versions of Sabaton's own material first, and then Sabaton will be delivering a full set. And I'm sure, given the new album, given the fact that it's the Legends tour, I'm confident that we will get a good chunk of the material from this album. I'm really hoping so, and I'm not sure, but I suspect there might be a little bit of orchestral involvement, maybe, in some of Sabaton's set, because Sabaton's material, their albums, they generally are very epic, and they are made for orchestral accompaniment, definitely. So really looking forward to that. It'll be interesting to see what the set list is, of course. There'll be lots of speculation. I'm strongly suspecting there'll be a good chunk of Legends being played live, but they've got a lot of albums now. They've got a lot of great albums as well, and a lot of fan favourite, really popular tracks. So it'll be interesting to see what Sabaton bring with them for this tour, for the Legends tour, because it is a great album. Also, another thing that popped into my mind the other day is obviously this album. Look at that artwork. There's no tanks. There's no camouflage. There's no guns and sandbags. So I wonder if we'll get a new stage setup and aesthetic from Sabaton. I wonder if they'll have to dispense with the barbed wire and tanks and maybe bring a few more almost like castle-looking stage props. You never know. You never know. So overall, I'd say this is easily a 9 for me. This is a great album. If you love Sabaton, you're going to love Legends. It's one of their best so far. Cracking album. Definitely check it out. Even if you're not necessarily all that taken with power metal, but you do like heavy metal, check it out. There's a lot here that you're going to really dig. So that's my humble thoughts on Legends and on the mighty Sabaton Swedish Metal Kings. What are your thoughts on Legends? Interested to hear thoughts and opinions of this album, of course, and of others on this album, I should say. It's certainly going to be a very popular one with a lot of fans, a lot of people, I'm sure. So let me know what you think of Sabaton and Legends. Hope you've enjoyed this humble review. Please do feel free to like, subscribe, share. The support is greatly appreciated, as always. Feel free to check back soon. More reviews, more recommendations of all the good heavy things coming all the time. Thanks again, my friends. Do take care of yourselves. Until next time, listen to Sabaton, listen to Legends, and stay frickin' heavy.